So, how did you and Robert or R. Kelly, shall I say, grow up as kids?
At a very early age, I said, the Jackson Five, they doing it. Why can't we? Why can't we do that?
Did he have a fetish for women? And I'm not saying underage women. I'm just saying, did he have a fetish for women? Period.
I mean, who don't? If you a man,
Do you think that Jay-Z had anything to do with the production of Surviving R. Kelly?
I believe that. Yeah,
And why do you believe that?
judging by the beats that Robert and Jay Z had. Yeah, let's do this.
Hello, everybody. I appreciate you tuning in to Too Strong. Today, in just a little bit here, I'm going to interview Bruce Kelly, which is R. Kelly's older brother. Now, I want to give him a chance to talk and tell his version of the story and give us sort of like some inside scoop and talk about some things that we may not have been privy to. I want to warn you in advance that I am not here to make R. Kelly innocent, and I'm not here to make R. Kelly guilty. We can all have our opinions, and we are entitled to that. And I'm entitled to my own also. But I do want to give Bruce a chance to tell his side of the story through his lens. So just brace yourself and check it out. So how did you and Robert or R. Kelly, shall I say, grow up as kids?
Well, we came up in a household on the south side, Argyle Gardens. And pretty much our mom, she used to make sure that we went to church every Sunday. We went to church every Sunday. It wasn't no, we didn't want to go, we had to go. Our mother was a singer, she sang, and she was very much into music herself. She was she had her own band, Joanne Kelly and the Six Pack. Now we were young kids, man, so I say about 8, 9 years old. And she, because she was into music, I guess she wanted us to be in music too. So she just started buying us instruments and stuff.
Hmm.
So at a very young age, we started playing. I think I started playing bongo. Then I went to the drums. Then she bought us guitars. And I don't even know when we started playing them, but we just started playing them. I mean, out of nowhere, we play what's in our head. We can play what we hear. So very early on, we formed a little group as kids, and we used to play behind our mom. Especially when her dad, our grandfather from Indiana, when they would come to Chicago to visit us, our granddad liked to do the blues, so I would play blues behind him. And our family was very much into music, man. So we didn't have a lot of money, but we had a lot of love for music, and we had a lot of love for each other. So that's how we grew up, loving one another, and just being there and being in the midst of music, and of course church. That was a big part of our growing up, having to go to church. You know, but that's how we grew up, man. We grew up, you know, being introduced to the world of music at a very early age. And Robert started singing. He used to sing with mom. They would do a lot of Marvin Gaye and Tammy Terrell, stuff like that. But people used to be amazed because he was so young, but he could sing like Marvin Gaye when he was really, really young. So, but Robert was really shy. He was shy when he was a kid. So we had to break him out of that, because he was singing and his back would be toward the audience. And we would tell him, you got to turn around, man. You got to turn around and face your audience. You can't sing with your back to them, because he was shy. So gradually he started turning around, especially when they took to him, when they started feeling him. When they started feeling him, then he got a little bit more confidence in him where he could turn around and face his audience. And when he started doing that, then it was really basically all over from there. Because when he seen them liking him, then that took him and his ability to the next level. So that's one thing I can say that I observed. And by my grandfather used to work right beside Joe Jackson in the Indiana steel mill. And I used to always think, because we were doing music at a very early age, I said, well, the Jackson Five, they doing it, you know. Why can't we? Why can't we do that? So early in my early years, I always felt like something big was going to happen musically in our family. And as I got older, like in my teenage years, I knew it was going to be Robert. I knew Robert because it's like that's all he had. He was so into it that he felt like that's all he had. So he put everything into his ability to sing and write. At a very early age, Robert was writing songs. So, and it came to him like it was nothing. You know, for him to write a song, it was absolutely nothing for him to put a song together.
I noticed when you talked about that, you mentioned your mom singing with your mom and everything. Where did Daddy fall in place?
Well, we all had different dads. I knew my dad somewhat because he came around every 6 months or so. Robert never ever met his dad. He never met his dad. But we had my mother. She married this guy named Lucius McLaren. He's our stepdad, and Lucius was really our dad. Up until he died, I called him Pops, and so did Robert. So he was really our mother was really our mom and our dad. You
Mhm.
know, until Lucius was in her life after we were born. Lucius came into her life. He was in the Air Force, and I remember, as a kid going out to Rantoul Air Force Base to pick him up when he would come home, and we'd come home, and back then, when you were on public aid and stuff, you couldn't have a boyfriend, and you know what I'm saying. It kind of reminded me of the movie Claudine. Yeah, I don't know if you remember that movie, but it was sort of, back then, our life reminded me of that movie because she had kids, she was on welfare, and she couldn't let the welfare people know that she had a boyfriend, you
Mhm.
know. So it kind of, reminded me of that because they weren't married then. But, my mother did eventually end up marrying Lucius, and they were together until she died in 93. So he was, someone who was a father figure in our life, from as long as I can remember. And like I said, my dad used to come around every 6 months or so, take me out, buy me something, give me money. But whatever I got from my dad, my mom had me split it with my brothers and sisters. I had to split it with them, and I didn't mind. They were my brothers and my sister, and I had a lot of love for them, just as I do still today. I mean, just like any other families and brothers and siblings and stuff, you're gonna have fights. You're gonna argue. You're not gonna agree on everything. So that happened, throughout life, man. We had arguments and disagreements and so forth, but the love that we have for each other is what counts. That's basically it, man. And like I say, Robert and I, we had some disagreements and so forth back in 2015, and we were not on really good terms. I ended up going to jail, and then Robert followed. But that was in 2018 when I went to jail, and we had been into it for some years.
I do want to come back to that, but I want to go through a couple other things first. But we're gonna get there because I do want to talk about that too. I know that you said that Robert never met his dad, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah,
do he know who his dad is,
no,
or no idea?
no.
Okay. At what age did you realize? I know you said that you knew that somebody was going to come out on the music end pretty big, and you knew it was Robert. At what age do you remember thinking that in your head?
Um, Probably when I was like 13 or 14, because um, Robert just, by him being as young as he was, his ability to write songs captivated me. I
Mm,
was, I'm a musician, and I came up doing, in groups and so forth. But to see my own brother ability to write songs the way he did, it let me know that he's going to go something big, because he was too adamant. He was real adamant about his music, his lyrics, and so forth. It wasn't easy, for Robert to get a deal. He tried, and he had a lot of disappointments and stuff coming up. And I was there to tell him keep going, because a lot of times he would get discouraged. He went to New York. He went to L.A. He got with some people who are already in the business. He thought he was going to get signed, but it turned out that they were just after his writing. They wanted him to write songs. They weren't ready to put him out and have this kind of competition. Because I don't know if you know anything about the industry, but not too many people are willing to put somebody out that could outshine them. And that's why I believe that some of the people that he went and got with did not sign him. They just wanted to get his music and stuff. So he would come home very disappointed, you know. But I kind of encouraged him to keep on going. I told him, "You just keep on doing what you're doing, bro, and you're gonna make it. You're gonna make it. I know you are. I believe in you." So um he pressed on and kept pressing on, and you know so yeah, I'd say around 13, 14 years old.
how old was he when you?
When I was 14, Robert was 12.
Okay, okay.
I'm a couple years older than him, so he was about 12.
So is it safe to say that you and Robert, growing up as kids, had a very, very close relationship?
Well, I was close with all my siblings. I mean, we were really close as kids. Our mother brought us up to protect one another. you
Hmm.
know um if one fight, you all fight. You know, that's
That's the
how
way.
that's what my mom taught us. So when I got into fights, I look around, Robert kicking somebody in the head,
Yeah.
kicking them in the nuts. I mean, that's just the way it was. She taught us to be like that. So that's what we did.
So as he started becoming the R. Kelly, not Robert, but R. Kelly, did the dynamics of you and his relationship change at all, or how did that work out?
Um, well, no, it didn't. It didn't change, because I already knew. uh, we had a group together. We There was a guy we went to school with in grammar school. He played lead, and his brother played drums. I played bass. Robert plays keys, and he sing. We formed a group, and we used to play at this. We used to play at this club here in Chicago. It was a ballroom, really. We played there every Friday and Saturday night. So Robert already had an idea about who he wanted to be as an artist, what he wanted to do as an artist. He knew he was going to call himself R. Kelly from way back in the day, you know. when he formed the group MGM. It was R. Kelly and MGM. Robert wrote and produced all the songs. He practically choreographed all the moves and stuff in which, Robert, they went on the Natalie Cole show, Big Break, and end up winning the whole competition. Now, after that competition, they didn't win a record deal or anything like that. They won $100,000 cash and prizes. Everybody got 10,000 cash, 10,000 prizes. Yeah, yeah. Everybody got 10,000 prizes, 10,000 in cash.
Mm.
The only thing is, now the group, they were dynamic together. The way they had it and stuff. Uh, so when they won, a guy that we know had given Robert 30 grand to shoot a video called "Why You Want to Play Me." You can go online right now and say R. Kelly and MGM, "Why You Want to Play Me." That video is going to come up. Robert was 18 years old then. He was 18. So when they won the competition, people got in this guy's ear and told him, man, they won $100,000 apiece, and which that wasn't true. But he wanted his money back. So he told Robert he wanted his money back, and Robert went to the guys and told them, this guy wants his money. And they were so frantic that they had that little money. They thought that was a lot of money. They didn't want to give up a dime. Robert ended up giving up everything except $2,000. So Robert told them also that if you guys don't help me, there's no more group. There's no more group. And they said, well, you can't do nothing without us. It's R. Kelly and MGM.
Oh
So they
man.
so they thought. I think that pushed him even more because they told him that. How you going to tell him that there's not he can't do anything without them when he was the one doing all the writing, the producing, choreographing? So for them to tell him that he ain't gonna be nothing without them, that pushed him a little bit more. But it did tear him down because here was another breakdown and another setback. Now, when they they used to rehearse at the Regal Theater here in Chicago. It's a very famous theater, been famous from way back in the day. A lot of the greats done performed at the Regal Theater. The guy that owned the Regal Theater used to let them come and rehearse there. So he knew Barry Hankerson. Barry Hankerson is Leah's uncle. At that time, Barry had a lot of plays out, but he was also managing Gladys Knight. He was managing The Whining, David Peaston, and a few more people. So the guy DeRigo called Barry when she was in New York. He told him, I got a guy here, man. He's incredible, man. You need to come to Chicago and check him out. So Barry was like, well, when I come home, which he lives in Detroit, he has a place in New York and a place in Detroit. He said, when I come home, I'm gonna stop through and you set it up. So he set it up for Barry to come to the Regal Theater. And that's when he came to the Regal. Rob was there. And Robert didn't give him no tape or none of that. Robert just started playing the piano and singing Donny Hathaway's Everything Must Change. He sang Everything Must Change. Then he sang a song that he wrote. And Barry asked him what he was he doing the next day. He wanted to have a meeting with him at his hotel, the Drake, here in Chicago. So Robert went to meet Barry, and they got a little bit more in depth about Robert's, what was happening with him because he asked him, "Do you have any outstanding debts and stuff like that?" And Robert was like, "Well, they trying to take his tracker. They trying to take his tracker, which belonged to him and his girlfriend at the time, and he was about to be evicted from his apartment." So Barry threw him a bag, a paper bag that had $15,000 cash in it. He said, I want you to take care of your little bills you got, get you some clothes, because I'm taking you to New York and you're not coming back until you got a deal.
Mm.
So that's how that happened. Barry Hankerson took Robert to New York and he was there for about 2 months. But when he came back, he had his deal.
After he got the deal, did you work with him at all? And if so, how closely?
Well, actually, when Robert got the deal, I took him out when he started touring. I was his road manager. I was his road manager. So uh, it was actually it was me, Robert, Dre, Rick, and Earl in public announcement. Okay, so we was flying everywhere, man. I mean, flying everywhere every day. When when we had a show, we would fly there. You know, Robert don't like to fly. You know, if you do have to fly, then he prefers bigger jets, not them little bitty jets. You
I'm
know, he does not like to get on a little bitty plane, man. He done canceled a lot of shows that we had to get there on a little bitty one aisle jet. Oh no, no, stop this plane. He's getting off.
So you worked with him for a while, and then did that cause any type of friction or break in your relationship with him since you began working with him?
No, man, actually brought us a little closer because I was really proud of Rob, for persevering and keep going and accomplish. He got to where he wanted to be. He got a major deal with a upstanding company, Jive Records. Only thing is, Robert was signed to a label called Tab Dash. Tab Dash was a label. It was owned by a lawyer who, matter of fact, this is Luke's old attorney, his old entertainment lawyer. And from what I understand, this guy wasn't doing anything for the people that were signed to him. He didn't give Robert no money to do no video. He didn't get Robert in the studio. Robert did all that on his own. So he was signed with them, and when he got with Jive Records, they had to buy him out that contract that he was in with Tab Dash, or else they weren't gonna let him go. So if you look on his old albums, you'll see Jive Records slash Tab Dash. They got points on those albums to release him. So,
Got it.
but no, me and Robert, we got a lot closer because, I already knew that Robert was a perfectionist from being in the band with him when we were a lot younger. So I knew what to do for him as far as, when we were on the road and so forth. I know how he wants his dressing room. I know how he wants his rider, which is, uh, what's going to be in his dressing room, what he's going to want for dinner from the caterers and stuff like that. So I was on top of that type of stuff because Robert would find you if you did something out of the ordinary and, messed up or whatever. And I wasn't trying to get no fines. So I did what was supposed to be done because I knew he was a perfectionist. So no. Now we did get into some disagreements, but that didn't separate us. You know what I'm saying? Now there's been times that, we got into some disagreements when I was on the road and I went home because I wasn't taking no fine. I left the tour and went home. But we would see each other at our mom's house and we wasn't saying nothing to each other. And our mom would say, you know what, y'all don't know what's wrong with y'all, but y'all need to cut this shit out. Y'all don't know what's going on, but y'all gonna cut this shit out. I didn't bring y'all up this way, you know. And we still was mad at each other. Then the next week we'll see each other again. And then something came on TV. Me and Robert, our humor is just alike. We laugh at the same thing. When nobody else be laughing, but just me and him. So that happened at our mom's house where it was just me and him laughing. And I went out on the porch and he came out there behind me and he said, man, it felt like we was laughing together. I said, we was laughing together, you know. And he apologized to me for what had happened because when I left tour, it was a catastrophe. Everybody told me, Bruce, when you left, man, he missed shows. What I mean, everybody was affected by me leaving that tour because I had shit together, bro. You know what I'm saying? And Robert told me that. So he like, man, I need you back. And of course I went back, you know. So that's how that was. So, uh I never got to the point where I was never ever jealous of him because, you know, I was proud of him. I was proud of him. I was proud to say that Robert is my brother, you know, and his accomplishments. So no, we didn't, but like I said, like any family, siblings, or whatever, you know, things happen, you have disagreements, you get mad at each other, but when you're in trouble, I'm going to come to the rescue. I don't care what was going on. I forgot what it's about. My brother's in trouble. That's it. That's all. What can I do to assist you? And that's where I am now, doing whatever I can to assist my brother, man.
Yeah. So you spent a lot of time with him, and you two were really close. And you know the the thing that's that you probably don't want to come up right now, but we need to talk about it. He locked up for some child sex crimes and all that. So do you think that and when we get to the part, and I know you don't want to go too far into it, but did he have a fetish for women? And I'm not saying underage women. I'm just saying, did he have a fetish for women? Period.
Yeah, I got a fetish for women. I mean, who don't? If you a man, But what bothers me is that the media says, stuff like pedophile and, underage girls and this and that and all this stuff. And the trial that went on in New York, okay, they would not allow certain evidence in that would have proven that this girl who they call Jane number one, I think, but her and her mother, they they conspired to set Robert up by telling him that this girl was 19 and she was only, I think, 17, you know. And they texted each other, and the texts that came out could prove that this was a conspiracy for them to get money out of Robert. And the judge would not allow it into evidence. And I don't understand why not, because it's something that could exonerate him from these charges that's being put upon him, But it's going to come out though in the appeal.
Yeah.
It didn't come out in the trial court, but it's going to come out in the appeal. And not just that, but a lot of things that the government did that shouldn't have happened, should have never happened to him or anybody else. Uh, Getting his phone records, his emails and his phone records and stuff like that. An employee did that and gave it to a blogger, and she spreaded it around. She gave it to the government witness, a government witness who flipped and went really deep, and they assisted this girl and her family to commit a crime. Robert had money at his house in which he was telling his lawyer they heard that on the tape. And they went to his house in Trump Tower and took the money. So the government, they assisted these people to commit grand larceny against my brother.
Why do you think the government did this to your brother?
For one thing, they don't like to be deep. Robert was exonerated in 2008. They didn't like that. So here they came with all these allegations and stuff from these girls after uh um surviving R. Kelly hit, and most of those girls were of age when they got with Robert, but they lied and said that they were underage. But when they got on the stands, when they got on the stands, they were quickly when they were cross examined, uh, they got popped.
Let's
Uh,
go back a little bit, if you don't mind, to the I don't remember what year it was, but when he first got charged with the videotape with the young girl. Um, was that an underage girl, or was that Robert? What's the claim there?
Man, all I know is that tape, they don't know where it came from, and they cannot produce the original tape. Now, if that was supposed to be so, where's the tape at? Why can't they produce a tape that's an original if that's supposed to be Robert? Because he was exonerated of those charges. And that's the bottom line. They did not like that. And then here they come with the same thing, but just another way because they didn't tacked on a RICO charge and a Mann Act. So they they turned this whole thing around, bro. They turned it around, and they were wrong for doing that. Robert is not no head of no empire that whose main purpose is to procure young women to have sex with him. Robert is a musician, an artist, a producer who's been doing that's his business. That's what he does. He produces music. He does shows. And that's not why he got into the music industry. Robert got into the industry because he loves music. He loves to write. He loves to perform. And he loves his fans.
Was Robert married to Aaliyah? Is that true or false?
Man, a that was a hoax. That was a hoax. Supposed to have been what do you call it? Like that was supposed to be like a stunt.
Tell me more about that. Who put it together? Who arranged it? What was the deal? Give me more information about that, if you
Man,
would.
look, all I know is this, man, because and I really don't want to get into that too much because the thing is, Robert was never ever charged with anything like that. Leah came out and said that wasn't true. Her mother even came out and said that it wasn't true. That was not the case. And he's never been charged for that, even though, in when they had one of um, the appeals, one of the attorneys for the government brought up Aaliyah And, one of the judges was like, you know, he's not being charged with anything like that. It was like they were trying to bring up everything that sounds the worst so they could be on their side, for the judges to be on their side. But if it did not have anything to do with this case per se, period, then it doesn't, it has no place here in the appeals court, because Robert was not charged with any of that. With anything that had anything to do with Aaliyah, he was not charged with any of that. Her parents did not say that that was true. Because if it had been, I think they would have charged him. I think they would have uh brought some charges against him. But that didn't happen.
So when you say that didn't happen, you saying that he was never in an intimate relationship with her at all.
No, Robert was in the intimate relationship came through the music, you know. And they were close. Robert called Leah his best friend. She called him her best friend. They developed a relationship during her, the production of her album. They got close, and but not like people think though. So I'm not going to you know say that they were that close where Robert was doing anything inappropriate with her. It might have looked like this or looked like that or whatever because people listen to what the words of the songs are saying. No, Robert knows how to put music with different genres of people, and Aaliyah just happened to be uh, a young person that appealed to the bubblegum crowd. That's why that album was so successful.
What can you tell me about the beef, shall we call it, or the fallout between R. Kelly and Jay Z?
Uh, Um, well, I'll tell you like this, because I was on the Best of Both Worlds tour, and the day that the tour started, I could tell you this: I knew that it wasn't going to finish. For one thing, Robert wrote and produced most of Best of Both Worlds one and two. Um, Jay Z did not want to do Big Chips. He didn't want to do Don't Let Me Die. These are two songs that were the biggest songs on the album. Why would you not want to do the two biggest songs on the album? Well, because Robert is singing and rapping in those songs. Jay Z did not want Robert to be rapping, because when you say best of both worlds, you got the best at rapping, you got the best at singing.
Mm.
But if Robert's singing and rapping, what does that say to somebody like Jay Z?
I wanted to bag up real fast because I forgot to ask you something. Well, I don't think I got an answer unless I missed it. Who arranged this fake marriage between R. Kelly and Aaliyah?
I don't know exactly, bro. I don't know exactly. I just know uh, what was told to me, and because to be honest, I was kind of pissed off because I'm like, who same thing. I was like, who would set something up like that? That's not that's not funny. That's not that's not something that I would have thought about doing. I wouldn't have done that.
So why do you think Robert went along with it? You know what I'm saying? Was he threatened? Was he? I mean, why would he go along with something like that?
I can't tell you, man, and I'm gonna be honest. I don't. Long as he wasn't in trouble, I did not see any reason to even question anything. I really wasn't. I wasn't there was no need for me to question things and stuff because long as he's not in any trouble, then let's move on and just be a little bit more mindful about decisions that we make in the future. That's all I was concerned about.
Right. So let's jump back to the the R. Kelly and the Jay Z beef thing. I think you left off saying that Jay Z didn't want R. Kelly doing certain songs because he was singing and rapping. So at some point the beef had to get bigger than that up into the separation. Can you take us there and show us how that all worked out?
Well, it was like this, and a lot of people who came to those sold out shows, those shows were sold out. When Jay Z didn't want to do those songs, when Jay Z would, because when it came out, it would be both of them, Robert and Jay Z. They doing songs from the album. Then Robert would go off stage, and Jay Z would do some songs from his past. Then Robert would come on and do songs from his past or his songs. But Jay Z started bringing in people that he had collaborations with. So when Robert seen that, Robert started doing the same thing. He started bringing in people and doing songs that he collaborated with people. And this went on all the way up till we got to Long Island, New York, the day before Madison Square Garden. It was supposed to be two shows at Madison Square Garden. But when we was at Long Island and did that show, Robert brought out Keith Murray had just got out of jail. That day, and he was able to contact Keith and have him come on and do Home Alone. You know, where Keith Murray starts out rapping in that song. When Keith Murray came out into that audience and started singing, start Keith Murray rocks, they went bananas in that place, bro. They went bananas. And Jay Z did not like that. He didn't like that at all because we're in New York. They love Rob in New York. So now, next day, we come into Madison Square Garden for 2 days. It's supposed to be two shows at Madison Square Garden. So when we get to Madison Square Garden, you know, Robert, everything's going cool. Robert is on stage now by himself, looking down into the audience. He see a guy raise his shirt up and show him a gun. So Rob said, hold on. He had the band stop the playing and start and told the audience, you know, I love what I do. I love my music. I love my fans. I love doing this. He said, but this is my work. This is a job for me. And I can't work looking at somebody showing me guns. I got my family out here. He dropped the mic and walked off the stage. Jay-Z got the mic and put it up like this and then did like, yeah, I don't know what's up with him, but we going to keep the show going. Like Robert is nuts or something, you know? And
Mm.
so they tried to talk Robert into coming back, finish the show. And he didn't know what he wanted to do. He didn't like that seeing somebody showing him a gun. You know, I don't blame him. So they did Jeff Sharp. Now we didn't tour the world with Jeff Sharp. We done been all overseas. We did these shows all around the world with Jeff Sharp Productions. And this is who put this tour together, Jeff Sharp. So Jeff talked Robert and going back on. So Robert's going to the stage, him and Ja Rule. Now Diddy is on the backstage with Jay Z's cousin Tata. For what? For one thing, he wasn't supposed to be there. When they got to the stage, the backstage, that is, they all get sprayed with mace, with pepper spray. Top sprays Ja Rule, Rob, and Rob's bodyguard. I attempt to chase after him, and Robert grabs me and holds me. No, Bruce, no, man. Now I'm choking because the stuff on him is fumigating me. And we had to take Rob to the hospital, man. But while we at the hospital, we listened to Jay-Z on the radio saying, Robert is nuts. Nobody can get a gun into Madison Square Garden. Yo, dude tripping. He must be tripping. But I don't work for him. I'm that nigga. I'm that nigga. That's Jay Z on the on the radio.
Do you think that Jay-Z had anything to do with the production of Surviving R. Kelly?
I, I I'm not gonna say the production of it, but I know that I believe that he funded the money to Dreamhampton to do it. I believe that, yeah. As far as production and all that, I think Dream took care of that. You know,
And why do you believe that?
well, because they go back. Dreamhampton didn't have that kind of money. Didn't have that kind of money to do a production like that. You know, so by Jay Z being close with her, as close as he is, that that's the only place he could have come from. And then judging by the beef that Robert and Jay Z had, you know, yeah, let's do this.
How often do you talk to your brother right now today?
Well, I don't talk to him a lot because he uses his time a lot to talk to his girl, to Joy. So uh, it's very, it's not that often, bro. I don't talk to Rob a lot. I write him, I write him a lot. I send him pictures and stuff of his kids and of us and the family and stuff like that.
How much do you miss him?
I mean, I miss the shit out of my brother, man. I mean, I miss his, being at the studio and, cracking up laughing because we both were silly. We like I said, we both got the same kind of, um, humor. So I miss that. But the main thing that bothers me is that he's away from his kids, man. And I hate that, bro. I really hate that they took him from his kids, man. And he's feeling that, you know. Robert is feeling that. He's feeling missing, and missing his kids, you know. And all I do is just pray, bro. I pray, that God continue to strengthen him so that he'll be able to endure this, this time, you know, because I know Robert's gonna come home. I know he's gonna come home, and it ain't gonna be no 30 years either. I just stay prayerful, man, and just ask God to keep his strength up, because what he's going through, it's not no easy thing. It's not no easy thing, because they going to prosecute a person for being, for his personal life, man. I mean, what they prosecute Robert for, this is happening in the industry right now. Look, what's his name? Harvey Epstein.
Yeah.
He he didn't get charged with no Mann Act. And he really had an empire of people. They knew what they were doing. They knew that they were procuring these girls for him to take to his private island, you know. And they didn't even charge him with a with no man act, you know. But they played dirty. Basically, the law broke the law. They broke the law. What do you do when the law breaks the law? Who do you turn to? How do you fix that when the law breaks the law? Because that's exactly what's going to happen here, man. No employee should have gotten his records, listening to his private phone calls with his attorneys, and then give it to a witness for the government. That alone should be grounds for dismissal.
I know that when he once he got to MCC in Chicago, he met a guy named Ronnie Bowe, and I'm sure you know Ronnie. He connected us. And what does Robert tell you about his friendship with Ronnie?
Robert is the type of person, man, that he's very um, suspicious of things, you know. And I'm not going, I'm not going to say that, that because Robert just met him while being locked up, you know. But Ronnie has he got great love for Robert, and I told him that I appreciate that. But there was some instances where he was talking uh, on somebody's platform. I was watching this one time, and he was talking about Robert and Jay Z and stuff like that. And I said I hadn't talked to him yet, but I wanted to get in contact with him and asked him not to, you know, um, not to bring that up so much because first of all, Robert is still locked up, and I don't know what might somebody might try to do while Robert is still locked up, and I don't want nobody thinking that Robert got him doing this, that, and the other for him when that's not the case. You know, Ronnie Bo, cool, he a cool brother. He a cool guy. Sometimes we do things though, and we know not what we do. You know, I I know a little bit more than he do because I've been out there. I've been on tour. I've been on tour and been around uh Jay Z and so forth. I know the type of person that this guy is, man. You know, and I don't want nothing to happen to my brother before he get out of there. Simple and plain. And I was explaining that to him, and I wasn't saying that it will intentionally happen, but I appreciate that he told me he gonna fall back, and I appreciated that. He a stand up guy, bro. Because he could have said, well, I'm talking about me and da 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 da, and I can do what I want to do. But he didn't say that. He said, man, I see where you coming from, and I'm fall back. So I got big kudos for him, you know. But Robert is the type of person. He's leery. He's leery of a lot of people, bro.
If you could give a message to all of R. Kelly fans, his used to be fans, people that support him, people that don't support him, what would you say?
I would basically say, they can expect to see Robert again. They can expect to hear more music coming from Robert because he's definitely, uh, he's definitely gonna come home. But I know he loves his fans. Uh, I think his fans is what's getting him through. because they write him a lot. He gets a lot of letters and so forth. And even though, they've charged him with these type of crimes and so forth, people still got great love for him. And so I know, and I would tell his fans to keep writing him, because you guys, y'all strengthen him. Bottom line, y'all give him the strength that he needs to endure this type of madness and stuff that's going on in his life right now. He needs his fans, and they've been there for him. And I'm just telling them to stay with him, stay doing what y'all doing, keep writing him, keeping his spirits up, you know, because eventually he's going to be back out. He's going to be able to connect with his fans again. And, he's still writing. He's writing while he's in there, so they can expect to hear some good stuff when he get out. I know he said he wanted to do a record label, so of course I'm gonna be there with him to assist him with that, you know. But yeah, so I just want to say that I appreciate his fans being there for him, and I know he appreciates it too. He appreciates it more than anything right now because, whether you guys know it or not, y'all getting him through this. Y'all getting him through this, and I just pray that y'all continue to do so because through this appeal, Robert is going to find his way back home again. That's all I got to say for that.